Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my New York travel guide. Now I already filmed the entire video yesterday, but I had to just sit down today and film the intro portion for you guys. So in case you're interested to know my entire experience of 2 days that I was in the New York, 2 separate days actually, then please keep on watching. So to give you a little bit background and context before I start with the actual guide, I was in the USA in the month of September. If you are not already aware about that, let me tell you that I'm assuming that everyone knows because I've created so much content surrounding it, both on my shorts as well as on my long form content like YouTube videos. So I was in the US in the month of September and I was in Philadelphia. I'm not going to tell you specifically where in Philadelphia because I was living at my aunt's place. So for the sake of their privacy, I don't want to mention the specific location or anything like that. But in Philadelphia specifically, it is very easy to travel to New York. Specifically, if you're going on your own by train, I would highly recommend the SEPTA trains. You can also use Amtrak if you want to go to New York. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll tell you, is if you're going from Philadelphia, that would be helpful. If not, then you will have to figure out how you're going to go. For me personally, we used SEPTA the 2 times that we went to New York because it was more inexpensive, and also you don't have to buy tickets in advance. If you are going by Amtrak, they only accept you to do like an online booking. You cannot just randomly, like hop on the train and ask them, okay, just charge me for this and give me a ticket. And if you buy Amtrak tickets on the same day that you're going, like for example, if the train is going at 10 o'clock and you go to the station at 9:30 and you're like, give me a ticket for Amtrak, the prices are going to be exorbitant. And Amtrak is almost double or more than double even of SEPTA. So these are 2 separate kind of like trains that take you in and around. And I'm talking about like Philadelphia, New York, if you're in that area. If you are in a different part of the US and you want to come to New York, then of course you'll have to research and see how you're going to possibly be able to travel there. So that was just a little bit of background. Now specifically in New York, how did we spend our time and what would I suggest potentially to you? So starting with that part, we spent 2 separate days in New York. We did not stay there overnight in any hotels or anything, so I cannot talk about that potentially. Now the reason for that is because since we were living at someone's house there, we actually did not book any hotels there at all, and we preferred to go to and fro, and of course that was, there was a cost associated to it, but it was better than booking for a hotel there. A lot of people might actually prefer to like stay there for 1 night or 2 nights in New York and then cover their travel accordingly. So completely depends on your living arrangements over there and what they are. But New York hotels can be very expensive, especially if you are going to be in the main city. If you're going to be further down like towards Brooklyn and Manhattan and that side, it might be cheaper and might fit your budget. Completely depends on that. Now for us personally, we came to Penn Station in New York. Penn Station is like the main hub over there, and also if you are looking at any tour packages, because I'm going to get into that next, there are 2 tourist buses like companies that you can potentially go for, and there was a little bit confusion earlier about it from our end, so I'm going to clarify that out as well. Now the one is Big Bus, and the other I think is was it Red Bus? No, I don't think it was Red Bus. I'm gonna leave like the names and the links to both the websites down below. I'll tell you which one we took, and then I'll also tell you the other one. There is not much of a difference in the rates. Okay, yes, I remember now. Top View and Big Bus. So the one that we took was Top View and the other one was Big Bus. So when we stepped outside Penn Station, we saw these like sales people from Top View standing there, and it said hop on hop off buses on their t-shirt. So we were like, okay, this is what we're looking for, because we were told prior that hop on hop off buses, which are basically like a double-decker bus that takes you around the entire the entire route that they have planned of New York, and it covers all the main tourist destinations that you would want to potentially visit. So we thought hop on hop off is the company, not the type of bus. So when we got there, we approached them and we were like, okay, let's go for this. And they have two routes. So there is a uptown route and there is a downtown route. Downtown route covers all the main tourist attractions, and then the uptown route covers like Central Park, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Like, of course, if you go to the website online, you will know which route is going to cover, and accordingly you can decide which one you want to go for. Do you want to go for both uptown and downtown, or do you want to go with only one? We decided it might as well make sense to go for both, because my plan was that we will not actually get off at any of the stops. So what hop on hop off actually means is that every time they show you a specific place, they actually stop there and you can get off and you can walk to the actual attraction, buy a ticket there or go there for free, depending on whether that specific place has any entry fees and entry ticket that you need to buy or not. So for example, you go from the starting point to point A, but then you don't want to get off there, so then you can just move on to the next point, then the next point, then the next point. Wherever you want to get off, you can actually get off, go to that place, and once you come back to the stop where you were dropped off, and there will be another bus that comes within like 15 minutes or so, or at least that's what they claim, that the buses leave every 15 minutes. So you will just have to wait for a couple of minutes before the next bus comes. So we were like, this sounds pretty good, and that's what we ended up opting for, and it's definitely a good value for money, I will say that, because if you want to individually go to every attraction and manage the transportation yourself, it's going to be expensive, and I don't even think it's walkable, to be very honest. You cannot walk. You will definitely have to decide a customized plan, which can be more complicated. Might as well pay a specific set of money and cover everything. So we covered the downtown route first, and we did not get off anywhere. We specifically chose it to be that way because we were coming a second time, and in the second time we would cover all the attractions that we personally wanted to, just on our own. We wouldn't opt for the hop on hop off bus. Anyways, so we covered the entire downtown route first, then we got off at that specific point, like where the route ends. We looked for a pizza place or like an eating place over there, and then we went for the uptown route. Now make sure that you check with them whether you're standing at the right place, because this is where we made a little bit of a mistake. We stopped at the wrong stop, got on the bus, then realized we are just doing the same route again. And that is one good thing about them, is that you can take the bus unlimited number of times and change the bus, get off wherever you want, and get on the next bus unlimited number of times. So that is really great. So we could have done the entire downtown route again if we wanted to, but obviously we wanted to cover the uptown route, so we had to get off, walk back to the stop, go on the right stop, and then went on the uptown route. And we did the uptown route in the evening basically. So the downtown route stays on for longer, but the uptown route gets over early. So we actually got off at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is pretty famous if you watch Gossip Girl, and you would know that location very, very well. So by the time we got done with that and got back, the bus had actually it was like done basically for the day, so there were no more buses. So we had to actually take a local bus to get to Penn Station, where we wanted to head back home for. So that was a little inconvenient, but yeah, it was kind of our fault as well, kind of slightly. So in that way, just figure out and see. Personally, unless and until you want to go to Central Park or you want to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I would not actually recommend the uptown route, because there was nothing much there, and it kind of felt like we could have saved like maybe $20-ish per person if we only chose for downtown route, because downtown route had most of the attractions. Now that was our day one, and all the tips that I could have kind of given you from the first day. Moving on to the second day, which was actually my birthday, so I wanted to be in New York on my birthday, and we had 3 places to cover. We had Empire State Building, we had Statue of Liberty cruise, and we had like we wanted to stop by Times Square, which is pretty close to Penn Station. So like on our way back we wanted to stop at Times Square, and my cousin had specifically told me that if you are going to go to Times Square, go as late as you can in the day. So in case you guys are planning to stay in New York overnight, definitely I would suggest going to Times Square as late as you can, and that could be like 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, that kind of thing, or even beyond that if it's possible. And while in other parts of the US you typically cannot stay as late out as you would maybe you're in India, but in New York specifically you can stay up pretty late. It's always going to be crowded over there, at least that's what I've heard. We have not stayed there, I think post 6 p.m. because we had to head back to Philadelphia, and it takes about 4 hours from Philadelphia to New York if you are going by SEPTA and you're changing the trains. There is no direct trains, so that is why it takes like 3 to 4 hours, and that's why we can't stay back super late, because in Philadelphia everything is like dark and you cannot step out post 7:38 or so. So because we got home pretty late on both the days, I believe, we had to basically head back early, so we couldn't stay super duper late in New York, but that's okay. So that is basically about Times Square. It's beautiful just to spend time there. You will meet so many people, so many like I want to say like actors, or not like actors as in celebrities, but like people who are dressed up in unique costumes, and you can take like pictures with them, or you can just look at the billboards, take photos at Times Square. I took a bunch of photos at Times Square just because it's so iconic, and I wanted to always look back on those memories and relive my trip through those pictures. But yeah, that's pretty much it about Times Square. Speaking about the Empire State Building now, there you have to buy tickets, and the tickets can be expensive if you buy them there itself. I will leave the specific price as to how much we spent for 3 people at the Empire State Building. So if it's possible for you to buy tickets online, you can actually buy tickets online, and if it's cheaper, then I would suggest buying online rather than buying it there itself. We didn't know the difference that it would be, so that's why we just bought it over there itself. Now you have 2 options there. You can either buy tickets till the 80th floor, or you can buy it till the 102 floor basically. So there are actually 3 levels. There is the 80th floor, then there is the 86th floor, and then there is the 102 floor. So the 86th floor was not really as good, I would say, mainly because there was a lot of fencing and you can't really take a lot of great photos there. But the 80th floor was really beautiful. If you don't want to go up till the 102 floor, then it's fine. You can just go up till the 80th floor. It would be cheaper in terms of the tickets, and there is like a big area over there that you can take photos from and then just head back. It's equally beautiful, I will say, but because we were, I mean, it's like a once in a lifetime thing, so we were like, fine, let's go to the 102 floor. But while it was very beautiful, we did not spend as much time there, because till the point that we reached there, we had already seen the sights and the beautiful views multiple times from multiple different angles. And also the space is pretty less on the 102 floor, so we were like kind of crammed up and jammed up. Everyone was taking photos, we wanted to take our photos, so it was kind of congested. Still, I don't regret that experience at all, but I'm just being a little bit overly critical while giving you these recommendations as to what I personally feel, because I want it to be helpful for you guys, and I want you to actually get a good idea as to what you could do potentially if you wanted to and accordingly plan how you would do things, if that makes any sense. So that was our experience at the Empire State Building. We actually spent a couple of hours there just because there was a lot to see. Like, you're basically getting an entire view of like the whole of New York, and even like, you know, the Brooklyn Bridge side, the Manhattan Bridge side. I think you can even see like parts of New Jersey and stuff. So there is a lot that you can see. You can also see the Statue of Liberty from the Empire State Building, which it makes sense, right? So, it's pretty easy to spot as well. So even from our flight we saw Statue of Liberty on our way back. So that tells you that you literally get like a bird's eye view of entire New York. So yes, that was Empire State Building. From there we headed to the Statue of Liberty and the Liberty Cruise. So again, we like managed our transportation ourselves. So we took the subway, which I don't actually recommend if you're a tourist, because I feel it's very difficult with certain limitations in mind. Now usually when you go to a train station, you can actually buy the tickets at a counter. There is someone helping you, but in the subway there is no one actually helping you. So for us to use the machine there to take a ticket to go to Bowling Green from not Penn Station, from the 30th Street or 32nd Street, I can't remember which station we took from Empire State Building. I think both of them are pretty close by, so we took one of them. It was the Green Line, I remember, that went to Bowling Green, and Bowling Green is the closest from Statue of Liberty. That is where the cruises, actually not cruises, but that's where the tourist people, not tourist people, what am I saying, the tour operators are located. So that's what we took, but it was very hard to get into the subway station and to actually board the train. It was a real hassle. So that's something that I won't actually suggest. If you are able to find like maybe a bus, you know, like the local buses over there that is taking you there, I would much prefer that over going the subway route. I think if I had to go there again, I wouldn't take the subway this time, just for me personally. So yes, we took the subway regardless, because that's what we thought would be the easiest. Turns out it wasn't. So we got off at Bowling Green, and from Bowling Green, literally again when we stepped out, we saw all these tour operators standing there, and we just opted for the first one. I'm going to leave again their name down below. They took us to Pier 32, was it? I'll have to check once again, but they took us there, and that's where the cruise ship will kind of depart from. So right from Bowling Green station to the pier, they had the bus arranged. So again, the total cost, which I will leave down below, I think it was about 150 or 155 US dollars for 3 people. They basically cover everything, right from taking you to Bowling Green to the bus that takes you to the pier, and then from the pier, once you board the cruise ship, the entire like the cruise, and then back from the pier to wherever you want to go next. So they actually asked us where we want to be left. We could either come back to Bowling Green station, or we could go to, I think, Times Square, and there were a couple of different options. So that is pretty I would say convenient of them to you know, have that arranged, because we could have just come back to Bowling Green and went that way, but I didn't want to do that because we were anyways planning to go to Times Square after the Liberty Cruise, and honestly I didn't want to take the subway back because of how hard it was to get in. So we were like, you know, let's go to Times Square. It works out perfectly. So they arranged 2 buses to and fro, and then the cruise, all in that $50 sum. And just want to clarify, there are 2 kinds of Liberty Cruise that you can possibly go for. There is a 1-hour cruise, which actually lasted for longer than an hour, but then there is also a 4-hour cruise. So those are the 2 options you can opt for. There are specific timings for both cruises, so that you will have to check with them, of course, prior. If you want to do the 4-hour cruise, you will have to go earlier in the day. We went somewhere close to like 1 ish or so, I want to say, in the afternoon, and there wasn't a cruise because we had just missed it. and then the one after was around 3:30. So if we go for the 4-hour cruise, it would take way longer, like we would be back by 7:38, and we can't leave that late from Philadelphia, from New York, to go back to Philadelphia. So for that reason we opted for the 1-hour cruise. And while we were told that the 1-hour cruise is actually better because it takes you through the entire New York skyline, so you can see all the buildings, and there is more to see because they show you everything in the 1-hour cruise, along with the Statue of Liberty, of course. Whereas in the 4-hour cruise, they just take you to the Statue of Liberty. You get off under the statue. You can take photos with the statue, of course, under it, but they don't show you as much and they don't take you around as much. You're more so spending time there because they're not just waiting for you, but they're also waiting for other people to take all the photos. Then you hop back on the cruise ship, and then you come back. So while it takes longer, it's not actually as enjoyable as what we were told. Again, it could just be him selling it to us, and he also said that if you want to go for the 4-hour cruise, come back tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. So for that reason we opted for the 1-hour cruise, and it was beautiful. I have to say, it was probably one of my best experiences that I had in the US was that Liberty cruise. It was so beautiful, and I just want to say, this is an unpopular opinion maybe, but as compared to how much money we spent at the Empire State Building to get the tickets for there, and if you compare how much money we spent on the Liberty cruise, both in the same day, and like which was better, I would say the Liberty cruise was better, because it's maybe because I'm a water baby, I don't know, but I just loved that experience so much. And yes, there was like a lot of waiting time involved. We were stuck in traffic, we had to wait for the bus on our way back. There were those things, but I don't remember those things as much, as I can still perfectly picture myself in that cruise ship going over the entire, like, they were showing us all the buildings of New York, the Statue of Liberty itself. We didn't go super close, but we went as close as we could, and I do have pictures with the Statue of Liberty as well. So it was a beautiful experience overall, and I just loved it so much. So highly recommend it. Again, like I said, I'm going to leave all the websites, all the tours that we went through down below, along with how much we spent on tickets for 3 people, like I said, because I went with both my parents. So yes, I'm going to leave all that information down below.